masters, universe, and the energies we receive today. Thank you very much. Anyone would like to share experience or any questions? Thank you. Thank you very much. Today, on the wisdom session, once again, welcome all for today's wisdom session. So, we have been talking about oneness. Last week, we spoke about divine oneness. It is the actual definition as to what it is. The living realization that there is only one consciousness. So that is what we said is divine oneness. Today, we talk about the ascension that will help in achieving divine oneness. Because ultimately, after understanding what I want or what I am, I need to know how to get there. Each of us would be interested to understand how and what is ascension all about. Now, there are different steps in ascension. There are different processes in ascension. We can go very deep on the subject itself, but we'll try to wrap up this week. If not, we'll take it up in the next week as well, because ascension is a very big topic that connects back to divine oneness. Now, what is ascension mean? Anyone would like to answer it? What is ascension mean? We know divine oneness means only one consciousness, that we have to realize it. Similarly, what is ascension mean?
Letting go of old patterns, old beliefs, emotional wounds through oneness. If you want to stay in the present, like if you stay in the present, it will happen automatically, step by step.
Good. That's part of it. Yes. What else? Any other?
Moving to higher self.
Moving to higher self. Yes. What else? Anything else you think of?
It's all about soul maturity.
Soul maturity. Okay. So yes, some of these are part of it. Some of these are in there, right? What is ascension? Ascension is raising one's consciousness, the level of consciousness, from ego-based identity to the universal awareness, which is the divine oneness, right? You are raising your consciousness, the level of your consciousness, the process of raising your level of consciousness from ego-based and reaching into that universal awareness, that is divine oneness. So always understand that it is not going somewhere. It is actually dropping your lower identities. The identification that you have with your mind, with your senses, with your body, with your ego, whatever that identification, you're dropping that. So essentially, if you look at it, ascension is a vertical movement of your awareness. You're raising your awareness from where you are to the highest of the order, from the body to the mind, to the witness, to the being, and eventually to oneness, right? So if I take this into a perspective, what is ascension in difference to oneness? Ascension is the process. It's a step-by-step process, and divine oneness is the state. So we know what divine oneness is. We don't have to talk about it, but I think ascension is where we'll have to spend time today, right? We'll really try to go to the core issue, what it is, and how do I get there. So we all understand divine oneness is not psychological. It is not emotional, unification. It is not an experimentation. It is not something that you achieve. It is something that you have, that Advaita Sthiti, what we call, right? The non-duality state is what we call as divine oneness. Now, how do I get there? Why is that my oneness is not already lived by me? Where is that missing, right? That is the core problem, and that is trying to understand that, number one. And what you are trying to do is you are trying to become that which you are in your inner core. Now, where is the core problem? The core problem is my experience with the truth, right? Even though oneness is the truth, we always experience separation because of the identification. Every one of us have identification. Some of us have identification with the body. Some have multiple things, right? You have identification with the thoughts. We have identification with the emotions. We have identifications with the way that you have your intelligence, the developed intelligence, that so-called perceived intelligence that we talk about, the roles that we play in the family, as a parent, as a kid to the parents, as a husband, as a wife. You have so many roles that we play as a co-worker, in your office environment. Everything that you're identifying in that capacity of a role. And of course, the identity begins with the belief system. What kind of belief system have been bought and brought up? Born and bought up, right? What do I believe? What is my brain tuned to from my childhood? So, ascension is ideally a systematical process to dissolve these identifications, so that you are experiencing that oneness within you, right? So how do I perceive this? How do I look at this? What are the steps and what are the ways we do that? We understand that there are only 4 stages, right? You are at a body, then you are at a mind, then you are at witness, then you are at a being, and eventually oneness, right? Before you get to oneness, you have these 4 stages that you have to get to, and meditation is an absolute way to get there, right? If I'm trying to get on a ascension ladder and then trying to look at my oneness as the ultimate goal, how do I move my inner state, right? So the first, in the 3D, which is the third dimensional, which is where we are in, right? The consciousness that I live in, or we all live in today in the 3D world, is basically on 2 categories. One is the survival, and the other one is a separation, right? My energies are survival energies, or my energies are separation energies. They are commingled together. How do I look at myself? I am this body and I am mind, or I am something else? How do I experience it? What is my core state of being when I'm trying to be in that state of 3D? So 3D is all about fear. 3D is all about comparison. 3D is all about attachments. It's me versus you kind of conditioning, that God is outside. You don't believe that God is inside. You believe God is outside. Why? It's inside versus outside, conflict all the time. The chaotic environment that we create, it is always looking and judge in judgmental way. Trying to look at, instead of trying to be in the stillness state, we always look at the survival state, right? So the ego boundaries that I have created for myself are only to survive myself. They always look at comfort. They always look at in the box. I will never have the out of box thinking. So the 3D typical lifestyle is, if someone criticizes me, you feel hurt, you feel angry instantaneously. That is 3D life, right? Before I come into meditation, before I do any spiritual practices, typical lifestyle of every individual on 3D, third dimensional consciousness, is survival and separation. So what is happening in survival and separation is I am living only for those two energies, survival energies, separation energies. So there is no oneness, there is no calmness. There may be opportunities where I am calm within myself by having to satisfy my ego, right? So in this state, if someone is criticizing me or someone is saying something to me, I have two feelings. Either I am happy because someone said something to me, or I am sad because someone said something that is not in line with me. Either that you can perceive that sadness as, if it is sadness is frustrated, then it is anger. If the sadness is deeper, then it is worry, right? You worry yourself. Why he said this, why he said that. So that is because of your survival. Your ego or our ego always tries to satisfy itself in the 3D world. If you are able to really put an example or analogy to it, you always can see, look back today, right? What happened from morning till evening? There are so many moments where you have done things to satisfy your ego. Even you are talking to your kids, you are lecturing them, or you are telling something to them, hey, this is a good thing, you should do it. Even that is a ego satisfaction. Because without the judgment, you cannot have the ego satisfaction. You have to judge the other person for you to be able to give that lecture, right? Whatever that is. So that is survival and separation in the Ascension level, right? The second level, which is also equally important and which is a deeper, little inner state that you bring on, is emotional and mental awakening. Most important thing, my dear masters, the most important thing we should emphasize as a meditator. This is when meditator and a non-meditator. There is a fundamental difference between meditator and non-meditator. Why Vivekananda said there are only two kinds of people is because of this stage. This stage is called 4D, fourth dimensional consciousness state. The fourth dimensional consciousness state, you have to understand, they still are not in oneness nor in the being, but they are not outside either. They have started to embrace the inside, the emotional and mental awakening process. I am my thoughts, I am my emotions, I am my spiritual experiences. You are trying to understand or seeking for peace, seeking for love. You are understand the concept of light body. You are looking for spiritual practices to begin within you. You occasionally experience the concept of unity, the concept of oneness. You have embraced the knowledge of spirituality, right? So what happens in this stage is you have already started meditation. You have started to experience certain things in your meditation. You may not have the identity towards it. You may not have the full-blown being aspect of it yet, but it is coming and going, having and not having, right? So sometimes you have that experience, sometimes you don't have experience. You may get oneness, but it comes and goes. So you are starting to experience the inner reality of the fourth dimensional aspect of it. This is a shift, bigger shift. In Ascension, this is the most important part. If in your life, right, you have started, let's take an example. 1 year back, you started doing meditation. Okay. Last year, you had different kind of person where you were in the survival and separation energies, right? You're always looking at survival, you're always looking at separation, because fear was part of your life, identity was part of your life. You had like all types of egos and everything, whatever, right? Now suddenly you have come to a level where it is no longer you carry those energies. You embraced meditation, you started doing meditation. I'm not even saying that you're doing daily meditation. You're doing meditation once in a while, and you have started to slowly embrace and understand the concept of what thought is all about, how emotions affect the reality, right? What spiritual experience are meant to be. You may not have experience of every spiritual nature, right? You have few experiences that you have gone through. Now, slowly, what is happening is the vision that you carry outside now slowly started to move inside. This is a major shift. That's why it's called fourth dimension. Very important stage, right? Your consciousness started to shift from outer reality to inner reality, right? What happens? You are in, when you sit and do meditation in this stage, you will become very calm, you will become very centered, you will become very balanced, you will have beautiful experiences, you will have everything. But once you are out of meditation and you come to the world, you interact with the world, slowly you lose that. And then your irritation, your frustrations, they come back again. So it is an on and off kind of a mode. That's why it's like sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't have it. But what happens is you are in this process of ascension, you are starting to lose the identity of ego. That's why it's very, very important, right? But it is still present. The ego has not fully eradicated. Ego is not gone. Ego will never be gone. But your identification towards that ego has loosened up because of your inner practice. That's why this is very important. This stage is very, very important. Then comes the next stage, which is like going very deeper, the 5D consciousness, which talks about the witness and the compassion aspect of it. The identity has now shifted, had drifted from where you are to where you are going. You are no longer feeling that I am the one doing it. It is happening through me kind of attitude. It is shift. The shift has come. I am the observer of thoughts and emotions. This is a huge jump in your ascension process. That's why when you are as a beginner, you start to experience the glimpse of what meditation can give you in life. But once you become a very serious practitioner, advanced meditator, if you start to do 2 hours meditations, 3 hours meditations, 4 hour meditations, going little deeper in your ascension process, what happens is that dynamic shift will start to happen. You no longer associate yourself internally either with your thoughts, right, nor with emotions. Everything starts to happen as a witness. Now this is the main step. After you start to realize that I am on and off. When I do meditation, I have certain things coming my way. When I am not in meditation, things are falling apart. Now slowly you take your meditation little more seriously. You go little deeper. You start to experience the 5-dimensional consciousness. This is where astral masters are. Most of the astral masters are in the 5-dimensional consciousness. They are witnessing and they live with compassion. The identity has now shifted, right? I am the observer of thoughts and emotions. Huge jump from your process, right? If a thought comes to you, you are not binding to the thought. You don't lock yourself to the thought saying that this is my thought, right? You observe the thought, you let the thought go, right? When the emotion is moving, the movement of energy is happening, you don't get drowned by the emotion, you just witness the emotion going. Yes, something is coming, something is going, okay, I'm just witnessing. Compassion becomes a natural phenomena of your life. You're not trying to be compassionate, you're not trying to be sentimentally sitting and looking at, okay, this incident happened, that's why I have to be so sorry for you. Oh, this happened, I am this, I am that. There is nothing like that. It is a natural byproduct of your work, inner work, right? What happens is, the simplistic way is, when your ego starts to weaken, this is the most important thing. When I do my inner journey with meditation, your ego starts to weaken. When your ego starts to weaken, your separation also weakens. You will start getting closer to this consciousness. Underneath the name and form, there is oneness. Underneath name and form, when you start to go into that underneath name and form within you, you also will start to realize that other person's name and form underneath that it's the same oneness. That consciousness will start to attract you. So if someone is insulting you, someone is saying something bad to you, right? In a typical scenario, you react, or you get frustrated, or you are worried, or I mean, you there are emotions that you express beyond the fact, right? Sometimes it is most likely it is spontaneous. Now, what happens when you are in the 5D, especially 5D, what happens is you are seeing that reaction arising within you. Okay. And then you see that you don't attach to that. You see that it is coming and it is going. And then it is dissolving because your identity is no longer with that. You realize that identity is not, I am not my thought, I am not my emotion, I am not my, senses, sensual activity, whatever is happening, or body. So whatever these things are happening within you, you are just witnessing all of that. Right? That is why what happens, you are naturally compassionate for others. If somebody is going through something, you are naturally compassionate. Right? Oneness is felt as compassion. But you have not lost your identity yet, because you have not in the being yet. You're almost there. You are witnessing it. You have gone into the state of void. You are experiencing the void. You are living the void. You understand what everything is going on, why things are happening. Always you give yourself the reason that, hey, for every, there is always a cause and effect. The concept is very clear with you. You are living with that principles. Absolutely, the shift has started to happen. You are now believing your inner than outer. And you understand very clearly the outer is a reflection of your inner. So you are only working on inner when something is not working on outer. This is 5D. Then comes in the ascension process, which is the 6D, which is the consciousness as a beingness, I am. The identity of I am. I am exists as awareness itself. Now, this is where the real thing starts. Now you are no longer identifying yourself with any of the nature items. You now realize that you are beyond nature, and the source as to where the nature has come, you have come from the same source. You will start to realize that. Right? So Patriji talks about Atma Tattva. Right? If you look at Patriji's wisdom, he talks about Atma Tattva. That is what this stage is being. If you look at, other like I am concept, right? The Nisargadatta Maharaj talks about this concept of I am. That is what this stage is all about. So what will disappear? You will no longer have the doership. You will not have identity that I am the one doing it. There is absolutely no personal struggle within you. There is no emotional resistance. Hey, I can release this emotion. I can hold on to this emotion. I may say this, I may not say this. All that is gone. There is absolutely no identity at this point, right? Then, so the disappearance of all this means appearance of certain things. What are certain things? The silence comes into your life. You are in the stillness, effortless presence. You are no longer running for things. You are always in that state of stillness. Whatever is appearing in the consciousness or in the awareness, right? Whatever is appearing. If you are seeing me today in this appearance, the screen, behind the screen, and I am seeing you all muted here, right? With videos closed. This is all appearance. This whole appearance is happening in the awareness. You are that awareness now. You are living in that awareness now. So no longer identifying yourself with the characters. Right? So what is happening in this state is you have that natural love, the divine love that you have produced. Because when you are in that state of divine awareness, the awareness, you are naturally producing the divine qualities. One of the beautiful quality of divine, when you are expressing itself, is love. So you are in that natural state of love. There is no condition anymore. You just love Because everybody is in the same line. We are all same things. One consciousness. The sense of others, the sense of you and me, the sense of separation will become very, very thin. There is hardly an opportunity where you are feeling we are separated. It doesn't really matter how I am perceiving things on my own, right? You look at a tree or a person, right? There is no observer, there is no observed, there is only presence, the deep presence, the effortless presence, stillness. This is being. So the first one we spoke about was the body that you bring in, and then you sit, you meditate, and then you start to witness, right? The mind, body to mind to witness, and then witness now comes into the state of being. Now the being has to merge in the divine oneness. That's the last one, which is the 7D, right? I am awareness. What remains is only I am. The full identity dissolution. No more I am centered here. No more concept of edging yourself. No more inside outside comparison. No more sitting for meditation for hours and hours and then trying to see difference between how my meditation is inside, how my meditation is outside. You are what you are meant to be. The beautiful state. This state is why we are all coming to meditation. Whatever may be the practice that you are doing, this is what scriptures talk about, right? Whatever may be the practice, whether you start from the end of doing ritualistic work or you are doing some kind of a upasana, right? Some kind of regulated worship, or you are doing some kind of a bigger penance, yagnas, yagas, whatever it may be. Ultimately, this is the reason why we are doing it. There is no other reason at all. To come to this state of I am awareness, what remains is stillness. To live in that is why we are doing it. It's called divine oneness. Our time, our effort, every lifetime that we are coming here is only to get to this state. Everything dissolves. The only thing that lives, three things will have. Love, whatever the love that you have in this state has no object. There is no condition. There is no requirement. You are naturally in the state. Whatever you are teaching happens without intention. You don't have an intention that I need to do this, I need to do that. It is a natural byproduct, whoever is in the state of I am or divine oneness. Seva is a spontaneous work. You don't plan things around. You just do it. That's it. You are in Seva. Right? Not doing Seva is not an option. Because if you are in the oneness, Seva is part of your life. You are Seva. You are Seva. That it's a spontaneous thing. It has to happen. Helping someone, sitting with someone, or walking with someone, or doing anything with someone, you don't feel like you are doing it. It is a natural phenomena of happening. You don't feel like if somebody calls you and talks about a problem and they want something from you, when you are answering it, you don't feel like you are helping them. There is no feeling of that separationness, right, anymore. You're just doing it as a natural byproduct. It just comes to you because you are in the stillness. When you are in the stillness, always remember, even in the spirituality, this is more important, right? There is a lot of confusion between the spiritual state and oneness, right? We should actually talk about this in one of the sessions, right? I mean, maybe we should talk today or next time when we get opportunity, because when you are spiritually growing, there is a urge, there is a level of comfort, there is a level of looking at things the way you look at it, because your mind is still there. You're trying to make this happen. I want this to be done. I am there. All that is at a point where you are spiritually growing. But once as growth has reached and you have come to a point of oneness, everything naturally flows through you. There is no urge. There is no, spontaneous reaction that I need this to happen, I need that to happen. It just comes to you. You just flow it out. It happens, it happens. It doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. This is divine oneness, the highest state. Right? So we are all here for this experience. Right? So when I try to put these ascension, how my ascension is working in a practical perspective is, I got to reduce my identity, the density of my identity as ego, less of me, less of my ownership, less of me doing things, less of my propaganda. All that has to come down, and increasing your awareness stability. What awareness you are in, right? What attention, where is your attention? How are you trying to keep everything together? Collapsing your subject object divinity, the division between your subject and object, always associating yourself that I am the one doing it, I got this, I need this, my name should be there, my fame should be there. All that is gone. Dissolution of your time factor. I am doing 1 hour meditation, I did 2 hours meditation. No identity on the past memories, no identity on the future state of memories. That has to fall. Your intelligence, the heart intelligence activation has to happen. Naturally, you're compassionate, you're producing that love. No mediocrity, no drama, nothing. It just spontaneously arises to you. That's why oneness is not achieved, it is revealed. If we are sitting in meditation and expecting that I need something, I have to get that, I have to be there, I am this, I am that, and all, that is not why meditation is. Meditation is for you to let go. You are already that what you are looking for. I am that I am. So you need to reveal within yourself to get to that state of being. That's why you are here, right? So I want to give a classic example, right? How does our life shift before ascension, during ascension, and in the final stages of ascension, and then in the oneness, right? Let's take one example, okay? Some simple example, like, somebody is unfairly behaving with you, right? Somebody is not behaving, fairly with you, right? Let's a simple example, okay? Before ascension, my thinking, I'm just throwing an example, right? It is important. If you're associated to an example, you can easily grasp the context of the discussion. Someone is behaving rudely, right? Unfairly with me. Now, what happens before ascension is, in a normal state, why are they doing this to me, right? What is happening? You will have a little bit of a pain. You will have some kind of a resistance, and you'll try to build a story. Hey, maybe this has happened, that has happened. You're trying to, this is all what happens in before ascension state, right? In a typical scenario. What happens when you are in the ascensions, in the mid of ascension, where you are now coming into witness, and you're coming into a situation where your inner calmness is getting built and all. What happens in this case is the same example. Somebody is rude to you, somebody is unfairly towards you. You see that anger is arising within you. But you also see, because you have started to have the witness, there is also a space within that, right? You're starting to see that space. You see this process coming, you see this process in the space between that, the witnessing state, right? In the mid of ascension. In the later stages of ascension, the reaction is coming for same example, right? Someone is rude with you or unfair with you. You are in that state of, the reaction is happening in the state of awareness. So no resistance from you inside and out, right? It just, the reaction comes in the awareness and it just goes like that, right? Or someone is unfair with you. Okay, you look at it and then just leave it like that. In the divine oneness, what happens is this is a movement of consciousness. Just the whole situation is a movement of consciousness. You're just looking at it. That's it. You're not even, there is no victim card. There is no, you are attacking me. There is no feel of, hey, energy is flowing from here to here. Nothing of that nature is going to be there. You're just in that stillness. You're just looking at it. Somebody is saying something to it. You don't even react. You see in, Patriji, in lot of cases, right? You probably would have seen him, right? Somebody is scolding, he's just like that, right? He's just laughing. He's smiling. Nothing is going, you're in that divine oneness. The moment of consciousness is there. You're just in the stillness. That's it. So it's very important that we start to look at ourselves, the progress as to where we are. Am I in the mid-ascension process? Am I in the advanced state? Or am I in the divine oneness? Is Seva coming to me as a spontaneous thing? Or I am trying to get time to Seva? Do I do Seva? It's a natural byproduct of me? Or am I forcing myself to go to Seva? So some of these things will help us to unwind within ourselves to see where we are. If you are in the Sahasrara Sthiti, which is where the highest state is, in the oneness, Seva is a spontaneous thing for you. You're not trying to bring it out every time. You are there, that's it. You don't need to be reminded. You don't try not to make it. You find a way to make it happen. Not happening, in 1,000 cases, 999 times, you find reason not to do it. But if there is one reason that you are able to bring and do it, then you are in that Seva. So that's how the energies are, right? So this is rolling, the victimization, all that is gone. So stabilizing your witnessing aspect of it, burning your karmic impressions through your ascension, the mid-ascension process or the higher ascension process, becoming the being aspect of it, the ego layer thinning out totally, right? You are anchoring, your awareness into your daily life. You are living with that standard. That is what ascension is all about. Meditation is all about know yourself. It's a tool to know yourself. That's it, your entire system. What happens without meditation? Okay, I have this super flow of knowledge, right? I have this abundance of knowledge that I have accumulated over a period of years by reading books, by listening to scriptures, by doing that, by doing this. I become a Vedantic, or you become a Pandit, and all that you did. What happens without meditation is ascension remains only at intellectual layer. Oneness becomes a poetic conversation. You can have a very beautiful conversation on the oneness, but that means nothing. Because oneness has to be experienced. It has to reveal itself to you. Without meditation, there is no question of revealing. Or without some kind of spiritual practice that helps you to get there. The I am concept of Nisargadatta, or who am I concept of Bhagavan, or Patriji's concept, or yogic concept of breath awareness, whatever that one practice that you bring to your life, that should help you to get into that state. That's the reason why we are here. Otherwise, why? If I do meditation, what happens? The ultimate goal is oneness becomes my normal life. When oneness becomes my normal life, I am already in meditation. I don't need to go into meditation again. I'm always meditating, right? So this is very important. And the second thing is, how do I accelerate my ascension process? You accelerate your ascension process. This is a common question, right? I'm just putting it, inserting in the conversation. How do I, we talk about Seva without expectations. Why I need to do Seva without expectations? Because I lose my identity. You destroy your doership. It dissolves your superiority. It grounds, oneness in action. It is oneness in action, basically. So true Seva, when you are trying to do it, awareness is serving awareness. right? There is nothing like I am doing service to you or you are coming here, we are doing. There is nothing. It is just naturally happening spontaneously. So what happens? It accelerates your ascension process, because when you do seva, it burns your karma. All the bad karma that you carry, it is burned out when you do seva without doership, without expecting any results. Most important, right? So it is not about talking. It is not about you trying to function the way you have to function. It is not about sitting and planning. It is just about being. That's it. Not even doing. It is just being. In that stillness, you are doing all that. So very beautiful conversation. I mean, there is a lot more concept to this. I've just given the gist of it, right? The illusion of separation that you remove, the divine oneness that reveals within you as your natural product, right? You are becoming one with who you are, the identity getting dissolved. You live with peace. You're always happy. There is no sorrow. It's a sorrow-free state. And you enjoy all the bliss, what life has to offer. There is, again, right? This is more important, right? What is my spiritual imagination and what is my true signs of ascension? Very, very important to understand. We have to talk on this, because when we talk about ascension, when we talk about oneness, it is very important that you also need to understand your spiritual imagination, right? How do you differentiate between whether you are spiritually imagining things or you are really experiencing the process of ascension? So next week, maybe, we should talk about it. It's a very important and deep subject. There are a lot of points we can cover within that, but it helps us to understand, am I imagining things at a mind level? Am I really in the state of that practice? When you are in that state of practice, it is a natural evolution. When you are imagining with your mind, again and again, whether you read a book or somebody gave you some insights about it, or it is your own practice, right? You probably got one or two, a brief essence of it, something, and then you're catching hold of it. And then now you're imagining that, okay, oneness, I am in, because I'm talking about oneness, you may be feeling that you are in oneness. That has nothing to do with being in oneness. It is illusion. So a lot of times what happens, even if you are practicing it, if you are not really grounded, if you are not in that stillness, if you don't have the practice of stillness, what happens is you get caught away with the drama of mind. And when you are caught away with the drama of mind, even your oneness can also be an imagination. So it is very important, as much as you embrace the knowledge, you also have to have the practice. You also have to dedicate your time, effort, energy towards it, so that you get that. It's about 10 o'clock now. I think we'll any questions, I know this is a very deep subject today, what we talked, but any questions? Let's talk a few minutes on questions. No questions? Interesting. Either I am too off on the subject, or
Thank you so much, Master. You explained very beautifully in such a way that we don't get any questions. Like you gave with example very beautifully. We are so excited to hear about the one more session about ascension next time, like the difference between spiritual and whether we are in real being state.
Yes,
Eagerly
yeah.
waiting for that session.
Next week we'll talk, madam. We'll talk about that specific aspect of it, right? What is imagination versus what is real experience, the true ascension experience. Thank you. Anyone, any other questions? Any other comments? Or maybe you
Yes,
can
sir.
say,
This
right?
is yes, sir. This is a very deep topic. I'm just listening it very carefully. So no doubt is arising. I wanted to listen more and more. That's the reason I'm keeping quiet.
Thank you.
Yes, Anil sir, I'm still trying to digest the subject.
Yeah, it is little deeper. Only, if you practice it, if you are in the path of practice, this will connect to you very quickly. If you are experiencing certain things on ascension, if you are feeling like, hey, I'm having this, I'm having that, I know about it, I felt it, I've gone through this kind of a thing, then it is very easy to grasp the context of it. I mean, again, this is not theoretical. What we are talking here is a practical way of how do I look at myself. I don't need any authority to come and tell me that my meditation is working like ABCD or XYZ and all that. I can, I truly can test myself to see where I am. That's why these subjects are very much required. That's why ignorance becomes a sin in the case of spirituality, because without knowing, you go sit and get into experiences, you can only go so far. But once you know about it, that this is how it is, it has to be. Am I moving the state from witnessing to being? Am I moving from being to oneness, or am I in the mind and body and mind? How am I identifying myself today? If we have that awareness, it will really help you to go deep. Every single conversation that we are doing here, these are practically some things that we have to bring in. Whether you are sitting in meditation and going through it, or you're outside meditation witnessing it, trying to be in the state of presence, or trying to be mindful, right? If like example, I'll give you a classic example. If you practice mindfulness, what happens? You're always in the here and now. You're always in the present moment. When you're always in the present moment, your breath is always in the present moment. When you go and sit in meditation, as a mindfulness practitioner, you never did meditation. But because you practiced mindfulness, you are in the present moment. When you go sit in meditation, because your breath is always in the present, you beautifully connect. You instantly connect with it. You go very deep. So it doesn't have to be like, I have to be meditating and all. Of course, meditation certainly helps in taking it. But outside meditation also matters. How you're putting your mind and body. And that's when these topics will help us to look at it, right? And understand, am I going in the right path? Am I getting the right state of experiences? Am I still on track, or am I off track? Because if I don't understand the ascension and my goal, our goal is oneness. We understood that last week. This week we understood the process as to how do we get there. And then next week we talk about the spiritual imagination, and then the aspects of ascension, the true aspects of ascension. I'll try to get more examples, right? We'll try to put more analogy into the mix. That way, it gives us that perspective, and then we ourselves can see. Nobody, should judge us, right? I can see myself. Where am I in my own thing? That was the goal of these sessions.
Excuse me, Master, if you have time, can I share my experience about what I have experienced recently about Ascension?
What, madam? What you?
Experienced, went through Ascension.
So,
So, I mean,
what?
I have experienced something I wanted to share. If you're okay, I can.
Yes. Please
Yeah.
go ahead, ma'am.
So actually, I started doing meditation during Brahma Muhurta time. So 2 months ago, I started 4 to 5. So after 5 o'clock, we'll have wisdom sharing. So in the December month, like all about ascension. So last 2 months, like whenever we have full moon or whenever I get opportunity, I go to Pyramid Land in Atlanta and I do like 2 to 3 hours, 4 hours continuous meditation. So I went through this ascension. The same example, what you have explained in the session, I experienced it. I have a very close friend. I have. So like we got some distance gap between the days. So like when people hurt me, initially I used to react. I used to react and I was trying to prove myself. No, this is what you're telling is wrong. This is what me. So I was trying to prove myself to satisfy my ego. So slowly after that, after my meditation, like what I saw progress in me is like I stopped reacting. So I started responding over reaction. So responding also only if it is required, I used to respond. And after that, slowly the same incident happened again and again. That means whenever if any incident keeps triggering us, that's our mirror, that's our reflection. That means we have to learn the lesson. Unless and until we learn the lesson, it keeps triggering. That's what I have noticed. So again, the instant happened. So the same thing, whenever it happens, first time reaction, second time respond, third time I used to be calm, I used to be silence. So the reason why I joined this 41 days is challenge. I like the challenges. Silence, 1 hour silence, writing journal, teaching meditation, sharing experiences, not to get certification. The main reason I joined in this course is like to go through all the challenges, to make a habit in my daily life. So
Excellent.
yeah, silence. Nowadays, whenever if anybody hurts me, says any sarcastically, so I just look into there. I just feel the essence of it. My feelings and emotions come. I'm just witnessing right now. So I'll give some smile and I will be calm.
Excellent, madam. Excellent. Great experience. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. That's exactly, you're on the path, madam. I mean, that is exactly the shift has to happen now. Instead of looking outside and giving importance to the body mind consciousness, you become more soul conscious. That's exactly the progress. That's a
Yeah,
progress.
now I mean, I'm not attached to any feelings and emotions. I'm in the detached state. Now I'm realizing that. So I'm giving like, I'm showing pure and unconditional love. I'm not saying with ego that I got it, I'm doing it, I'm witnessing it. I'm just telling that what state I'm in.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else? So the one thing I will leave you all with, this beautiful statement is, you are not becoming one. Always remember, oneness means you're not becoming one. You are discovering that you were never two. There is a huge, humongous difference between you are not becoming. When I said you are not becoming one, you are discovering that you were never two. You are always been that one, right? So there is nothing like you are discovering that I am one. So you have to experience that, manomatramidam dvaitam advaitam paramardataha is the Sanskrit sloka. It's the scriptures. Manusmriti talks about it, right? That's what this is, right? You are never in Dvaita. You're always in Advaita. But what you are realizing, right? What you are discovering, that you were never two. It is not like you're not trying to become one. Hey, I have so many here, and I'm many to one is what I am looking at. That's not the way to it. You are discovering, even in this many, you are discovering that you are never two, you're only one. That is the true state of oneness. All right. If no further questions, then let's call it a night. We'll see you all next week. Next week we'll have the beautiful conversation. It will help you in your practices. If you are able to join this next week session. Of course, last week, this week, and the next week, they're all connected. So if you are joining directly the third session, you may probably get disconnected a little bit, but try to listen to this video or the previous one. That way there is a continuity of the discussion, and then you can derive to how we started as Divine Oneness, the process and the myth as to what needs to get out. Excuse me. All right, Masters.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. Tomorrow we have satsang in the Virginia area here at Srilata Madam's place. So please do join us if you are locally available. Love to have you all connected. All right. Thank you very much. Have a great
Thank
evening.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you,
Good
sir.
night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.